doing here, especially in the literacy and the language arts areas, I think is great. I think adding the health subject to phys ed is great. Being able to have the 5 days. I mean, if you're having a student take Spanish 1 or French 1, it should be a 5-day course because, you know, they have to be prepared for French or Spanish 2 in their freshman year. And so I think able to move to that. I think this is great. Any questions from the committee or comments? David, any further comments?
The only comment would be that there are some standard items that will be added to all of the handbooks around the security cameras, asbestos, and other kinds of things.
Yeah, the sexual harassment items, are they in here also?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so they'll all be added. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the middle school handbook as presented tonight?
Middle school handbook as presented. Second.
He really beat you now. Motion by Mr. Bowers and a second by Mr. Venezia. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Good job, John. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good way to spend your summer, huh?
Right.
Yeah, it's actually been kind of fun. So. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Next, let's get back to the regular agenda, which I can't seem to find. Oh, there it is. We have school building projects. David, we have an update on the progress on documentation and paperwork for the Batchelder School.
Well, I think we've pretty much provided to the town hall. Joe Gisoni, the town's finance director, seems to be taking the lead on this. Joe let me know that he actually has to go to training. There's a whole new accounting software system that MSBA is putting in place, so the whole system is being done over. So he's going to be going to that training to be able to do the accounting piece. But all of the documents that we have, minutes of about 85 meetings and other things have been turned over.
The town has to submit it, right? Because the letter went to the town, correct? Asking for all the documentation.
Right.
And that's where the money will go to, is to the town as the first check. Is there any deadline for that at all, or?
No, when it's ready,
It's ready. Faster, right. And is there have you heard anything more on high school project or anything?
I contacted Mr. Carucci, and he and I, along with the architect from Thorne Whittier, are going to get together in August, and then we'll call a meeting of the secondary building committee to take a look at the high school statement of interest, because that's the one that we have to pick. We have to pick again another statement of interest. Now we have 2 remaining on file, and this will be something that the committees will probably need to vote on at your next meeting in August. Which statement of interest do you want to move forward on?
And we have to vote to reinstate the committee, because didn't we vote to
Suspend it.
Suspend? Do we have to vote tonight, if they're going to meet in August, to reinstate the committee? Because I think we did vote to suspend them.
I think we did. I thought it was a vote. I thought it was a vote to just basically suspend further meetings until something happened, and I think we had an initiative to move forward again. So it may not be a bad idea to take a vote.
We have to activate it, right? Reactivate the committee.
Well, ultimately, under the new regulations, the makeup, the composition of the committee will change.
That's right.
But I don't think we're at that point. The current group that's on inactive or suspended status is very knowledgeable about the statement of interest on the middle school and the high school.
Right.
Remember that when Catherine Craven from the SBA came out back in June to present the Batchelder 5 million check. Prior to that presentation, she toured the high school at her request. Now, there's nothing that would prevent us from updating both statement of interest, but I have to submit a letter saying which of the two is our priority. And this is the same issue that we had last year with 3 statements of interest where the batch was included. I don't think the way we crafted the letter last year was, it's the batch, but we also have these important needs at the middle and high school.
That's not gonna
I don't
apply
think
this
that's
time.
going to fly.
But I do think unless we reinstate or reactivate the committee, I don't know how it can meet in a suspended state. Before we do that though, I wanted to mention the article in the Globe last week, Tim Cahill, the state treasurer, suggesting a model school program where essentially the MSBA would come up with a series of plans. I believe he talks somewhere between 5 and 10 plans. And architects would be invited to submit those plans. And essentially, and a lot of this also depends on the land you're putting the school on, but essentially if you want a new school, you have to go with one of these plans or you don't get state funding. I personally think that's a good idea. It does restrict what you can do, but they're basing it on a high school that was recently built. They're going to start with high schools, and I think it's a great way to keep costs under control. And we were able to do that on the batch. But when you get to a high school, people want to add field houses, they want to add swimming pools, they want to add, and the state's not going to cover those things. And when you think about it, that probably makes sense. Carl, did you see the article? Or?
I did.
I'd be interested in your comments, given your position with the district.
I agree it's a good idea, because when you look at what's happened in Newton and other communities where they're looking at $200 million schools and expecting the state to pick up some percentage of them, I don't think you're necessarily going to have problems if you are working with system designs. Most other states do that. When you look at all the building that's taking place in Nevada around Las Vegas, that's how they do that. Each community settles upon the architectural renderings of 4 or 5 templates. So it also make the process move a lot faster. And it also, you'd be dealing with professionals.
Right.
When you're leaving a lot of this to local autonomy, you sometimes fall into situations that aren't as good outcome.
And I think also they did mention that there are going to be cases where the land that you're going to put the school on just doesn't lend itself to these plans, and there'll be some adaptation to the site. So I just thought that was a great idea and a way to save money moving forward. I was hoping I was going to read that article and he was going to point to the Batchelder School in North Reading as an example, but they're focusing on high schools initially with the plan. So I guess right now we need a motion to reactivate the secondary school building committee in order for them to meet in August to review the statement of interest for the high school and the middle school. Correct?
Yeah. So moved.
Moved by Ms. Metzger, second by Mr. Bowers. Any discussion?
Do we have any tentative
Dates?
or?
I discussed it with Chuck Carucci, and the first meeting will be with Chuck and the architect just to see how we're going to do this, and then pull the committee in. So we have to get it. We have to submit it. I'm sorry. We have to submit it to MSBA, Mass School Building Authority, no later than September 15th. So I worked back from there that I would want a vote from the school committee, number one on the priority of the two, high school and middle school. Probably at the next meeting in August of the school committee, which will then give us about a couple of weeks to update the statement of interest, which you can all do now online.
So we have a motion by Mr. Venezia, seconded by Mr. Bowers to reactivate the secondary school building committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, we have the, Dr. Troton has a brief report on the fiscal '09 budget and progress of hiring new staff.
Right, just in an effort to keep the committee and the community informed about the FY09 budget, which again, we are pleased that we're able to bring back a number of the programs that were cut or reduced last year. And I think having Mr. Fauché here tonight to describe to the committee about the revisions to the schedule is an example of how we're moving forward with putting some of the pieces or many of the pieces back in place. I do want to make the committee aware that in order to make this schedule work at the middle school is going to require 2 additional teachers, which we just have to, it has to work. And so I'm working with Carl to see how we can work with that, and hopefully with some level of savings in new hiring. The staffing, I know there are a lot of reports about new people being hired, and I want to be very clear, both to the committee and to the community, that we will hire the number of teachers that fit within the budget. But keep in mind that we had retirements that need to be replaced. We have resignations, and we actually have a number of resignations. We're seeing that the staff continues to be in transition, where people are coming to work in North Reading for 2, 3, or 4 years, and then deciding whether it's a family or personal situation, or shorter commutes, or simply relocation, that people are not staying. And this is putting, it's not just unique to North Reading. This is happening in a number of school districts. And then on top of that, we do hear that in some school districts that are exactly where we were last year, that you're getting, there are layoffs. Tewksbury is a good example of that. And so you have many young teachers in the first, second, and third year who are trying to gauge what the longevity, stability, financial stability will be of the school district before they accept a position. And for the first time, we're experiencing that, where when I interview the final candidate, one of the top questions is, how does it look in the future? You had some issues last year, it's well known. How does it look in the future? Because if I'm going to invest my time as a young professional in the school district, I want to know that a year from now or 2 years from now, that we're not going to experience what we did last year, or what's going on in this community over there. And I'm very candid with these candidates that I think we're moving in the right direction, but I cannot predict, not only based on local economies, but on the state and actually the world economy, of what it's going to look like 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. So people are making some very hard choices, and that is leading to decisions by some of our younger staff to look in other places.
So where are we in terms of filling all of the openings based on resignations, new positions, and retirements?
We hired about 23, 21 new positions, including a nurse, or we will be hiring. Yes, we did hire a nurse. We had a resignation from one of our nurses. we still have some positions